Hola a todos, bienvenidos a un nuevo video para el canal. Aquí es uno del Supana, su cuate, Danker Games, aquí con un nuevo video para el canal. Estamos aquí con Dankerverse Impact. El día de hoy toca seguir el lore. Vamos a ver qué nos depara Fontaine. La última vez quedó la cagada en el lore. Básicamente nos confirmaron cómo Freminet quedó fuera de combate, cómo lo rescató Clorinde. Y vamos a ver qué pasa ahora. Antes de comenzar, les quiero mostrar mi viajero dentro, que lo estamos armando. Así va quedando, ya que le estamos haciendo su set. Básicamente, estamos armándolo. Como pueden ver en artefactos, tengo que sacarle el reloj y la flor, ¿vale? Esta la tengo por ahora, ya que tiene maestría elemental, así que la vamos a dejar. Y tengo que cambiarla por... bueno, esta también tiene maestría elemental, así que vamos a ver cómo queda cuando quede las dos busteadas, ¿no? Estoy farmeando a Zaino también. A Zaino, como les dije ayer, me falta cambiarle el cáliz, que es este de acá, la copa esta. Hay que cambiársela por uno mejor. Y la verdad, y a Shogun también. O sea, me hace falta un par de artefactos, pero por ahora no es lo que nos trae aquí. Nos trae el lore, así que vamos a continuar. Con respecto a las builds, cabe mencionar que vamos a tirar por Furina. Como les dije, tengo PT 65 o casi PT 60, 65 por ahí, básicamente. Entonces lo que vamos a hacer es, cuando llegue Furina, tirarle todo, a ver si la sacamos. Si la saco, lo voy a mostrar en el siguiente capítulo, porque básicamente, como pueden ver, solo tengo una multi. Y para grabar solo una multi me parece una pérdida de tiempo, ¿ya? También hay que considerar que esto ya se reinició, por ende no lo puedo usar. Pero podemos sacar destino entrelazados de aquí. A eso sumarle los eventos que vendrán a futuro, de turno. Que como pueden ver, estos ya se tienen que ir exactamente. Se van en 8 horas ambos. Así que se vendrán dos eventos nuevos. Y ahí podremos rascar protogemas. Así que bueno, sigamos con el lore y vamos a ver qué ocurre el día de hoy. A ver si por fin salimos de esta fortaleza. Ya han sido 3 capítulos básicamente largos adentro de esta cosa. Ya quiero salir a pelear a la superficie y que pase lo que tenga que pasar, la verdad. Por cierto, hoy, antes de dormir, voy a subir el capítulo siguiente de esta serie. Porque ya creo que subió 2 o 3 capítulos de esta... 2 capítulos de la... Bueno, serían 4 capítulos de la tercera temporada si contamos el evento especial, que fue el capítulo especial, ¿no? Así que hoy subo el tercero antes de dormir y para seguir en orden con la serie, ¿de acuerdo? Bueno, continuamos. Bien, ya estamos de regreso. Bien, el sujeto ya está estable, ¿verdad? Creo que ellos dos hayan venido, pero tú...
Mostly fine. If you don't mind, I'd like to perform another... All right. Thank you.
Well, want to explain yourself, Risley?
Muy bien, señor, explíquenos ahora. ¿Por qué tu cosmoenergía es tan parecida a la de Nebulet? ¿Y por qué parece que eres más listo de lo que creímos? Ahora explica.
Of course. But I'm not partial to the word choice of explain.
Bien, somos todo oídos.
Where should I begin? How about you start by asking me any questions you have? You can start with whichever one you'd like to get answered.
Bien, me da pereza explicarle a todos, así que pregúntenme ustedes y yo respondo, ¿de acuerdo? Será más sencillo.
Then Paimon will begin. Did you know about Lenny's goals from the very beginning?
No. I just knew they were Fatui operatives sent to the fortress by the Knave. As for their specific goals, I only figured those out as you made progress on your investigation.
You managed to monitor and stay ahead of them even though you didn't know what they were trying to do?
They came here with ulterior motives. I'm quite adept at discerning what that kind of behavior signals.
Entonces, ¿por qué no hiciste nada hasta ahora?
Initially, I thought their goal was just to investigate Child's disappearance. suggested that I had deliberately let him escape, but in truth, I didn't really do anything special to help or hinder him while he was here. Of course, it's inevitable that the knave would make a big deal out of her fellow Harbinger's unexplained disappearance. I'm also quite curious about where that Harbinger went. So I figured I might as well let the Fatui do their own investigative work. All I care about is the answer.
So you were hoping Lenny's group would just do your work for you.
You make it sound like that's a bad thing. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. I assume that Fremine has told you already, the ratio of primordial seawater around the Forbidden Zone has always been Lenny's target, and you got roped into that investigation after running into him. I began to intervene out of concern for your safety, and also to prevent the fortress from becoming an...
Are the rumors true? That you're also a former criminal?
Why would you put it like that? Isn't staying here all day and serving as the manager of the fortress a kind of sentence unto itself? Another form of prison? I just happen to have some support from the rest of the inmates. That's...
Oh, right. Paimon wanted to ask...
Me, of course. I paid her good mora to come down. As a champion duelist, Miss Cloran could be considered to be an independent party. I needed to find an exceptionally capable person to help me get through the impending crisis.
Ya veo.
And saving Fremine was...
You can think of it like that, yes. Credit where credit is due, that boy is quite adept at diving.
¿Qué hay en el área
Mission's
prohibida?
not been That's not something you should be asking after. Neverlet only asked you to investigate Child's whereabouts.
Bien, el señor Danker de Agua, su eminencia, solo te pidió encargarte del paradero de juez, de nada más.
All I need to prove to you is that the Forbidden Zone had nothing to do with the Harbinger's disappearance.
But we've already uncovered that there's something wrong with the infirmary, and we've answered...
You make a compelling case,
Yeah, Paimon...
even if the truth may not be pleasant.
Por supuesto.
Follow me.
No es la primera vez que nuestra vida está en peligro. ¿Mm?
There's a hidden door here? And a whole basement behind it? Huh. You're pretty good at hiding stuff, Risley.
It seems you've forgotten just what kind of place the Fortress of Meripede is.
Así que hay algo en el sótano, ¿eh? Vamos a ver de qué se trata. Si veo que las cosas se complican, usamos a mi Shogun y ya. Pero no quiero recurrir a esa
Stand
fuerza
on a
aún.
central plate.
Wait, is there a secret mechanism or... Whoa!
Así que un lugar subterráneo, ¿eh? A Risley lo quiero sacar, pero a futuro. Ahora viene el Arconte, así que desgraciadamente no puedo tirar por él.
So, this is the Forbidden Zone? Honestly, for a place so well hidden, Paimon sure doesn't see anything
Espera,
special.
¿eso es?
What a huge door!
There are 3 such isolation gates in total. Generally speaking, I'm the only one who's allowed to go inside. Am I correct to assume you're going to run on back and tell your little Fatui friends everything?
Well, Paimon...
Well, I'd advise you wait until you've seen the whole
Muy bien, veamos qué hay detrás de la puerta.
Huh. So there's a switch up...
Stand back.
Retrocedan.
Whoa! They all just went up one by one!
Esa energía.
Go on, have a look.
Qué grande esa sala. Es raro que esté tan vacía, pero aún así hay una energía muy suelta aquí.
I've
¿Qué
been
pasa aquí?
interested in what lies beyond that gate ever since I assumed leadership of the Fortress of Meripede. Of course, it would be unwise to recklessly open it.
Vamos.
But it'd also be risky and the readings on that dashboard have not budged since the day when I first laid eyes on this place. But over the past year, the needle has crept upwards from its original position, likely because some parameter it's been tracking has changed. If normally I would have ignored it, but I happened to have some free time when I noticed it, so I investigated. Any guesses what the reading could be tracking?
La presión de
Very
agua.
reasonable guesses. The temperature should vary with weather and climate changes, so for something that rarely shifts, the water pressure is more likely. Later on, a few more possibilities occurred to me, such as a potential connection with the primordial sea. I began to make a few preparations based on that hypothesis. Over the past few days, the needle has moved again. With that and the symptoms that Fremine displayed after leaving the fortress,
The concentration of primordial sea.
and that is precisely the problem. We're at the bottom of the sea, and now we're surrounded by toxic seawater. Somehow, primordial seawater got mixed in, and the concentration is steadily rising.
Eso quiere decir que toda el agua de Fontaine se está mezclando con el mar primigenio, ¿cierto?
Yes.
But forget about the two of us. Not even Neuvillette knows where the primordial sea could be. Oh.
Seems like you've figured it out. I believe the primordial sea lies directly beneath this sluice gate. For some reason, the indicators are now red. Although the gate still stands, some primordial seawater... If this continues, soon it will no longer be able to hold back the primordial
Si el agua
sea
se
at all.
filtra, Fontaine desaparecerá del mapa con todos los que hay aquí.
Yeah, you know what the legends say. If this place falls, then everyone in Fontaine will be turned into
But that's just too weird. Why would the Fortress of Meropide...
Your expression tells me you think this might be part of a vast, complicated conspiracy. To be honest, it's just that the secret of the Forbidden Zone had been long forgotten by the nation. There's no single founder of the Fortress of Meropide in any traditional sense. What we know, when the previous Hydro Archon Egeria ruled the land, all convicted criminals from Fontaine were exiled. The people drove. The criminals received no sympathy of any kind from the people. They were exiled to the desolate seaside, where
Ya veo.
some of them began to repent and pray to the Hydro Archon, asking if there was still anything they could do. The Hydro Archon. And so, leaning on the power of the Hydro Archon, they gathered underneath the sea and began to build a fortress. As the number of exiles increased, more and more people joined the community. When the first group of exiles, the Hydro Archon continued to lend her support, allowing the fortress and what it stood for to continue growing ever larger. And with that, the people here stopped referring to the fortress as a prison. They saw themselves as repenting sinners who would regain. But as time went on, people also realized that the fortress was a lonely place. Once they had finished serving their sentences, some people left and some others chose to stay. They'd find some idle position and let their withered souls after many, many centuries. Few people still remember the reason for the fortress's founding. Now and again, researchers manage to break one law or another and live out their days in the fortress.
But now you know every part of...
Indeed. It's just as the prophecy says.
¿Crees
This
en la
came-
profecía tú
to be
también?
frank, not really. But sadly, prophecies are troublesome things. Just hearing one will create the first wave of panic. Seeing
¿Qué piensas
signs of
hacer
it will bring about
como-
the second, and actually witnessing it in real time, the third.
¿Y qué piensas hacer? Tú eres el que manda aquí. Todo depende de ti.
Let's go somewhere else.
¿A dónde me va a llevar ahora?
This is it.
Your Grace, perfect timing. The results from...
Wait, Jurier, he's not Huh?
No need to panic, you two.
What? After you warned us not... I'm skeptical as well.
The results speak for themselves, don't they?
All right, then, if Your Grace insists.
They seem harmless enough, so I'll trust them for now.
How about some reintroductions? This is Jurier, one of the highest-ranked researchers from the Fontaine Research Institute. He used to work under Edwin. I trust that you've heard of Edwin.
Claro.
Good. Saves me a... Edwin's main areas of research were archaeum and gravimeters. As...
You want to...
Ah, what a lovely idea.
Gotta admit, huh?
Guys, focus! Focus!
That taskmaster over there is Miss Lorvine, and is also one of...
Ooh, are they together?
See, everyone keeps asking this question. Are you too sure you're not a couple and just...
If I dated her, I'd officially...
Jeez, forget I said anything then. Follow me.
Bien, síganme.
Whoa, there's another door that goes right up.
Your constant amazement makes it seem like the fortress can do anything.
Veamos qué se esconde detrás de todo esto.
But Paimon really thinks everything's super cool.
Parece una sala normal y corriente, pero siento que hay un secreto aquí, ¿verdad?
Well, let's spice it up a bit. And here you go.
Una ciudad submarina.
What a huge ship! This is also a production zone that Paimon's never...
How much do you know about Fontanian history? Well, then maybe you haven't heard the story of ancient Lemuria. To give you a quick rundown, Fontaine used to be ruled, according to legend. The Lemurian king Remus came to this land after being inspired by divine revelation and found the seer Sibila, who had taken on the... He called his nation Lemuria and used the Fortuna to incessantly search for new tribes and islands, calling...
There's a ship in this story too?
Where there's water, there'll be ships. People believe that hope can always...
Do you believe that...
To a point, I think. As you've already seen, I have a whole factory's worth of labor, materials, and technology at my disposal. So the moment I began to speculate that the primordial sea might lie underneath the...
Were you inspired by the legendary Fortuna?
Maybe. Fontanians need something to hold on to cope with the impending disaster.
Es un plan demasiado grande. ¿Por qué lo está planeando a escondida?
Were the workers to find out the truth behind this ship, riots would destroy the fortress faster than any... As the fortress's administrator... Alright, that's enough talking for now. I'll need another 3 cups of tea. Seems like you're good.
Parece que por fin vamos a poder salir de aquí, creo. Con ya salir de este fuerte ya me siento feliz ya, porque de verdad hemos estado 3 capítulos aquí y siento que ha sido una eternidad los 3 capítulos dentro de esta wea.
I'll leave you here for now.
Oh!
No worries. But don't forget, it's up to you whether or not you want to share what you just saw. What you do from here on out will
Quiere decir que lo que cuente decidirá el siguiente paso de Linnea. Que si encuentro tendré que asegurarme de que entienda ahora mismo. ¿Qué le digo?
Yeah, we'll put a lot of thought into it.
Great.
Ay,
I look...
¿Protos? Bueno, sí. Duelo a la enfermedad. Ok.
We're back!
Ya
Welcome
volvimos.
back.
How can you be so much like Risley? Always drink...
Huh. While I was sedated, I could still barely hear.
Must have been Risley and...
Yeah, I heard one male voice.
I really can't make sense. So, Traveler, Paimon, were you able to learn anything?
Yeah, he explained everything.
Very well. Then, would you mind checking your answers against my speculations?
¿Ya te recuperaste?
Yeah, I took the time to rest, so I'm...
Nobody else is around, and Miss Sejuin is also busy.
All right, then I'll posit my theories. I asked myself 3. Firstly, why was Fremine affected by the primordial seawater?
Whoa, he's good.
That's our Lenny. Secondly, Risley's attitude changed dramatically during the course of our stay here. I spent quite a long time thinking about this. If he has been monitoring the Fatui since the very beginning, what's more, the fortress of Meripede is not part of Fontaine's court system, nor does it report to Udex Nervulet. Risley is basically, as long as the fortress doesn't do anything about Master Child's disappearance, Father can use it to pressure the Fontaine authority. If I had to guess, he probably has something that he's working on himself. It's likely related to the secret of the infirmary, but I just can't think of what it could be.
Bueno, me has ahorrado mucho que explicarte.
You're super...
Thanks so much. If Risley does have a plan, what could it be? All I know for now is that, that can't be the full extent of what he's doing. There's probably a secret passageway behind the block and I don't have enough information, so I have no idea what his chip might...
The sea will engulf that.
Could Risley have wanted to meet Father to figure out a way to deal with it? If you remember, I once mentioned that Father sees the House of the Hearth as her base of operations, and
Or perhaps he didn't know and just wanted to bring Father over to his side, which...
yeah, that makes sense to me. I understand your concerns as well, Traveler. The two of you have already aided us far too much. If you ever need anything else going forward, please come to the house. Though you may not share the sentiment, after all that we've gone through together, the three of us basically see you as family now.
Gracias.
You have my gratitude.
Thank you for protecting Lenny when it really mattered. And thank you for sharing the secrets of the fortress with us. We didn't think you were going to do it.
Why are you being so formal all of a sudden?
No se preocupe, podemos volver a trabajar juntos si necesitamos. Además, descubrí un secreto que tal vez la próxima vez le revele.
Given your strength, you might not need our help at all. But if you are ever in danger, we will try our best to protect you.
Aww, the sound of that makes Paimon feel...
Ya tienes hambre, ¿cierto?
Paimon's hungry.
Ash.
Oh,
Alright, then we'll catch you guys in
¡A comer! Creo que ahora no es el momento de contarle a esos dos que puede que el Danker de agua y Furina sean sus verdaderos padres.
Come on, let's go pick up ours as well.
Traveler and Paimon! Over here!
Are you here for dinner too?
And I'm taking the
Huh. You're right.
What would you like to eat?
¿De verdad puedo elegir?
Yep, you can. I've already talked to our chef, Mr. Walsey. It's all on me today, so you can get whatever you'd like.
Entonces comeré el mejor plato que tengan.
Don't forget...
No problem.
So delicious.
La comida sabe aún mejor cuando no pago.
Is this how it feels to be freeloaders?
Feeling full yet? How's the food?
Delicious.
Estaba muy exquisito,
I'm
gracias.
so glad to see you all so happy. Oh, see, the expression...
Sejuin, do you do this to help your patients or to better understand?
A bit of both, I suppose. I'm a Melazine, which means I'm very different from human beings. I must know what you're thinking if I want to take...
You're really good at taking care of people. Even though you're so short, you still talk and act...
Really? You're reminded of an older sister?
Oh, and what did you mean back in Risley's office? When you...
Oh, that. I just asked His Grace to look out for those children, especially that diver boy. Thankfully, Glorand is very strong and managed to save him in the nick of time. Although the path was blocked, we still stationed some guards there to stop anyone from approaching. They were instructed to... Oh, and I was keeping an eye on Mr. Linney as well. We had to press him, but we...
You were all...
It's just what we do down here at the Oh, I really wish Monsieur Nervula would come down here more often, too.
No entendí eso último. Mi versión de agua trabaja más en oficinas. Además, con la esposa que tiene, es una locura. Lo entiendo perfectamente.
Get a good night's rest, you two.
¡Asu! ¡Asu! Carajo.
Clarand!
How's dinner?
It's all right. Miss Sijwin really put in a lot of effort.
So we heard that Risley invited you to come down to help, and you...
Oh, no.
Still, Paimon didn't know even champion duelists could take on side jobs. Oh, and why aren't you eating with Sijwin and the Duke?
Miss Sijwin was with you. And the Duke has business of his own.
Actually, didn't Navia say that you went out for dinner with her as well?
Yeah.
For
Ya
the
veo.
first time in a long time. So you mean you've gone out to dinner with her in the...
In the past. You seem to be enjoying yourselves here.
Sí, gracias a Danker de
Things
agua.
will be getting messy at the fortress soon.
Bien. Ahora tengo que seguir. Por favor, dime que este es el último capítulo en este fuerte de mierda, por favor. Ya llevamos media hora y nada, weón. Vamos, quiero salir de aquí. Bien, tiene que ser aquí.
So much has happened. Paimon just feels absolutely... Paimon's super sleepy.
Sí, yo también estoy cansado. Ay, se dormí enseguida. Es un caso.
Delicious.
Buenas noches, Paimon. Campanita, loquilla.
Out of my way! Get out of my... What happened? Why is everyone... No idea, but something must have happened. Stop asking!
Who's yelling?
¿Qué rayos está pasando? Oye, tenemos que ir a ver qué pasa.
What happened? Why is everyone running around? Hey, what are you doing?
No time to explain, mate. Goodbye.
Hey, wait! What's wrong with these people?
They're here! There you are!
¿Qué?
Oh, thank goodness!
¿Qué pasó?
Quisto and Lavaroon, do you know what happened here?
We came here especially to inform you. Something seems to have gone terribly wrong. Just Lafaroon was saying you two are new here and you don't have many friends, so you might slip through the cracks. Haven't you heard all the story?
Wait, weren't you the one who brought that up?
Hey,
Okay, whatever. The point is, you should come with us.
Riley dijo que fuera.
Yeah, he said to get as far away as possible.
Entonces el problema está en los niveles inferiores. Ya veo, es
no.
abajo.
It can't be that thing!
oh, wait, what? What? Hey, where are you going?
Váyanse, yo me haré cargo.
Duke, you two just go and get out! Go on without us!
Hey, be careful.
Attention, please evacuate upwards and outwards, upwards and outwards. If you're already at the topmost layer, then try to move as far outwards as
Por
possible.
fin algo interesante ha pasado.
Attention, please
Por fin algo bacán pasó, weón. Después de tanto weón en el fuerte mierda, se va a hundir. Por fin va a pasar algo que avance la trama, joder. Carajo, me suban las manos. ¿Mm?
They're here.
Están aquí.
Just like I said. You're just in time. But be ready to run.
Prepárense para correr. Chica. Bankai! Ice Punch!
Three, two, one.
This won't hold it for long. Find Neuvillette. Tell him the defenses are about to collapse.
Then what will happen to you?
Until he arrives, we're the last line of defense.
Bien, tenemos que darnos prisa. ¡Vámonos!
The gate. How long do you think it'll hold?
That depends on us.
¡Uy! ¡Por fin algo bueno! ¡Ya era hora!
Neuvillette, why are you here?
¿Qué haces aquí?
Traveler, I need you to head to the Opera House immediately.
Ve de inmediato a la ópera. Danker.
Farina will soon be meeting with the knave there. You must protect Farina and make sure she doesn't spend too much time alone with her.
Muy bien. Mi esposa se reunirá con Arlecchino dentro de poco. Protege la ambientación, no estoy. Me haré cargo del fuerte. Bien, ya nos explicarás lo que pasó.
Will do.
Por
You
supuesto.
have my sincerest
Te los
gratitude.
agradezco de lo más profundo de mi corazón. Ah, con que Arlecchino, ¿eh? No le tengo ningún miedo a esa desgraciada. No me robarás a mis hijos, Arlecchino. ¡No lo harás! ¿Por qué estoy corriendo sin me puedo teleportar si se pudiera saber? Carajo. ¿Por dónde? Ah, por acá. ¡No te caigas, güey! Es aquí, ¿no?
Look, there are a ton of Fatui and Palais Mermonia people over there.
Démonos prisa.
Are you two the traveler in Paimon? Though I'm sure he's already explained, this should be a mostly cordial conversation, unlikely to...
Haré todo lo posible. Por favor, explícanos qué pasa.
Oh, so you two are the honored guests Miss Farina mentioned.
Of course, of course. How could they not attend a meeting such as this? I must always have 2 or more guests at my dessert table. Otherwise, the occasion would be too lonely and unbecoming of my station.
It is my pleasure to make your acquaintance, traveler. I have heard much of your accomplishments. I am the Knave, one of...
Así que esta es la supuesta madre de Linnea y Lynette. Tiene una energía muy fuerte, pero no más fuerte que la mía. El placer es todo mío, Arlecchino. Todo mío.
I've already prepared seats for you. Come, sit beside me.
Gracias.
Perhaps you two are unaware of how Miss Farina and I do things. You see, we actually recently agreed to get together for tea when we had the time. See this? This is a limited type of confectionery that Miss Farina simply adores. There are only 16 slices sold every day.
Parece que esto es fácil, pero no puedo subestimar a una Fatui. Después de haber vencido a Signora, haber peleado con Juez y haber vencido a mi juez Cara, sin mencionar al Dr. Aqua, esto no será fácil.
Traveler, what do you think of this cake?
Está buena y a ella también le gusta.
That's good to hear. So what Child said was on the mark after all. You do share a taste in desserts with Farina and I.
¿Por qué le diría eso, juez? No entiendo.
I wonder how he's doing nowadays. You must have heard, right? He's suddenly gone missing. I'm really worried about his safety, you know. Here's to hoping that he's an excellent swimmer.
Sus ojos me recuerdan mucho a la maldad y también a la habilidad que tenían Xiao los Uchiha. Es igual al Sharingan. Y con respecto a juez, sí, confío en sus habilidades perfectamente.
Since we're talking about him, I feel like I should add something. His martial prowess really looked certainly pretty impressive, yeah.
Ella, Furina, parece nerviosa. Parece que algo aquí no está bien.
Oh, so you're also familiar with his aptitude for fighting, Miss Farina. Oh, right. I almost forgot. Child was subdued by Udex Nuvillette right in front of you. Against ordinary people, my colleague would never be on the back foot. But alas, he just never imagined he'd run into such a person. I must express my admiration for Monsieur Nuvillette.
Escucha, Arlecchino. He descubierto información sobre la desaparición de Juez.
Coming from you, that's not surprising.
But I thought you would be happier to hear the news.
Of course, but it's still a bit of a shame. You see, I would have been far happier had I received this news somewhat earlier, as you well know.
Well, in any case, there's no need to worry. We know for sure that Child is still alive.
Oh, and just how do you know that?
Because we found evidence that proved he left the Fortress of Mirapede.
And where did he go after leaving the fortress?
Well...
The Fortress of Mirapede lies deep beneath the waves. Unless he pranced right out of the main gate, he must have had to swim for it. Do you have any proof that he surfaced safely?
Aún no. Pero no hay nada que indique que le haya pasado algo malo en toda nuestra investigación.
Ah, that is good news at least. His sister Tonya sent a letter to Fontaine not too long ago. Since he was unfortunately unavailable,
Tonya.
I picked it up on his behalf. Do you have any idea how he usually writes back to his family? Dear Tonya, your letter made me feel like we were still enjoying our time in Snezhnaya together.
Bien, no deja de presionar, pero dirigiré su presión hacia mí, no hacia Furina. Es lo que mi otra versión hubiera querido. Es muy similar a lo como lo haría Juez.
All letters tend to follow the same few formats anyway, right? As long as the contents are accurate, it doesn't matter so much how it's written or how it's worded.
Hold on.
I suppose this is also a sign of things to come, Miss Farina.
I don't quite understand what you're trying to say.
Have we entered into the next stage of the prophecy?
My thanks to you both. I will take it from here.
Gracias a ambos. Ahora es mi turno.
Sure you don't need a hand?
¿Tú no necesitas ayuda?
Quite sure.
Por supuesto.
Wow. So, what's your secret, huh? Let me guess. Nah, who knows?
¿Quién
Maybe it's
sabe?
just your sense of
Tal vez eres muy
responsibility.
responsable, ¿no crees?
Sounds about right.
No me hagas reír. Esto no me asusta. Si esto es todo el problema, no hay de qué preocuparse. ¡Ja!
A day may come when the prophecy is fulfilled and the waters burst forth.
Tal vez la profecía se
It is
cumpla,
not this day.
pero hoy no será ese día, ya que yo
This ancient power
detendré
could easily obliterate
este
an entire
apocalipsis.
race. A tsunami of fury would unleash endless catastrophe.
Esta descarga de ira no me va a derrotar, ni a mí ni a Fontaine.
This sentence is too severe.
Esta sentencia
Forgive me for
es
overruling
grande.
it.
Me extendré de sacar conclusiones.
All right. Seems like the problem inside has been
Let me guess. We're safe for now.
Supongo que ya estamos a salvo por ahora.
Indeed.
Sí, solo pude propagar la cosa.
I win this bet. You owe me a present.
Oye, gané la apuesta, me debes un regalo y una cita.
Very well. It was indeed just...
You made a bet.
¿Hicieron una apuesta? ¿Es en serio?
We made a bet on the size of your entourage. Cloran thought you wouldn't come down by yourself.
Apostamos yo si vendría acompañado o no.
I figured you would have at least brought a few people along for appearance's sake. It appears I underestimated just how confidential the mission was.
Shouldn't you have gotten used to confidential missions by now? That's just how the courts operate.
So what gift must the loser give?
¿Y qué tiene que regalar la persona que perdió la apuesta? ¿Un té?
He already has tons of tea in his office.
That wouldn't happen to be a dig at my lack of legal awareness,
Te
would
estás
it?
burlando de que mi desconocimiento del mundo exterior, ¿cierto?
Well, I'm sure His Grace doesn't consider the fort...
I was under the impression the residents of a place like this would be uninterested in the legal codices.
Pensé que aquí no les importaría el código legal del exterior.
That was obviously
Bueno,
a
era una
joke.
broma, ¿quieres? Relax, hombre.
Anyway, you've still got some unfinished business to attend to in the overworld,
Aún no
correct?
terminan en la superficie, ¿verdad?
No need to stay here if you have a pressing matter. We all know you can't leave Palais Mermonia for long.
Thank you.
Gracias.
I hope everything went smoothly with the Fatui Harbinger.
Espero que te hayas hecho todo de cargo de esto, Danker. Mientras tanto... Bro, está hermoso el capítulo, por fin. Este sí me gustó. Este sí. Valió la pena los 2 capítulos rellenos para llegar a este. Valió la pena. Valió cada maldito segundo.
I must say, we've spent Miss Farina. As the Hydro Archon, I am sure you understand the exact meaning of the phenomenon.
What are you trying to say?
At this point, I don't think there's any more need to speak as diplomatic representatives. Allow me to speak to you now as just a Fontanian. Yet, here you are, relaxing, drinking tea, and eating desserts as if it's all nothing more than a few stray bugs in your... The prophecies hanging above our necks like a guillotine. Every faction is looking for a way to either avert the disaster or save their own. Even the orphans of the House of the Hearth have devoted everything to saving their homeland. But you? It beggars belief just how nonchalant and carefree you have been.
You're wrong. I've never ignored the prophecy, nor have I just been passing the time in self-indulgence. Retract your accusation and stop doubting the wisdom of the gods with such absurd conjectures.
I am not alone in my doubts, you know. All the children of Fontaine may be harboring the great Hydro Archon. How are you going to save them?
I have my ways, and I've been working on them for all this time. Even if you look down upon me, Fontaine will be saved. Even...
Su cambio de actitud me tiene intrigado. Esta vez está actuando mucho más seriamente, no está disimulando.
Then I ask you, Miss Farina, just what have you been working on?
Es mentira, no puede decirlo. ¿Por qué se armó de tanto valor si no tiene el punto?
My machinations are just like the prophecies.
I see. As a god, the proof of your labor always lies Allow me to be so bold as to ask another way. Would it be possible for you to tell us the parts of your plan that are not confidential? Such as... Oh, that look in your...
The emergency response...
Then allow me to jog your memory. Miss Furry, and what do you plan to do with the massive amounts of
The oratories? It's just like it appears.
So you also have no idea. If I'm not mistaken, I first caught wind of this when Linny tried to investigate the oratrice in the Opera House. But even if that had nothing to do with you, then what could you possibly be working on? Oh, right. I almost forgot. Udex Neuvillette is not at the tea party with us today.
Yes, that...
Of course I will. Although, I must say, Miss Farina, you seem quite insecure without Oh, very well. Let's stop that conversation here. There are still a few slices of cake left.
No puede hacer nada. Ni siquiera sé lo que hubiera hecho Danker en la otra versión de mí en este momento. Supongo que se fue al fuerte para impedirlo del mal ingenio. Pero ¿podrá haberlo logrado? ¿Furina habrá dicho la verdad?
Traveler, I heard that you were recently commissioned to handle a few matters on behalf of the Udex. Why don't you too, Paimon?
Thank you.
Bien, supongo que es mi momento de hablar.
Oh, Paimon.
If it's on my tea table, it must be of the highest...
You're welcome. I'm sure the cake also felt greatly honored to be featured at Miss Farina's table. And it is getting late. Why don't we call it a...
Very well.
Mind seeing me off, Traveler? We could use the opportunity to discuss Child before I must be on my way.
Por supuesto.
Paimon's coming too.
The tea party turned out to be even more difficult than I'd imagined.
¿Te encuentras bien?
Why are you looking at me like that? Is something the matter? If there's nothing urgent, then I shall be retiring for now.
De acuerdo.
Propagate!
Tendré mi espada lista por si necesito usarla. ¿Con qué era ahí, eh? ¿Quién lo diría?
I'm glad that you were willing to come with me. Of course, Child was just an excuse. I have no interest in your dealings with him.
That's what Paimon thought.
Bien, ¿qué quieres decirnos? Sé honesta, puedo ver a través de ti.
You lent your aid to the children of the House of the Hearth. As their father, I would like to express my gratitude.
¿De nada? ¿Ocurre algo más?
That was all. Formal topics should be discussed in formal settings, and informal topics in informal settings. I know you just returned from the fortress of Meripede. Relax. I have no intention of trying to get anything out of you. Linny, Lynette, and Fremine are still there, and I trust their judgment and abilities.
They've all been working very hard and have always done all they can to fight back against anyone who tried to stop them, especially Linny.
You mean Ridesley. He's a tricky one to deal with. It's unfortunate that Linny's so eager to prove himself that he can't learn to rely on others, including me. By the way, and you can just consider this a bit of idle gossip, but what's your impression of Farina? You are outside of our disputes, and the freest person in all of Fontaine, able to move around most easily.
And that's everything that happened during the trial. Master Child was declared guilty and immediately transported to the fortress of Meropide.
Ya me cayó bien al lechino, entiende lo importante que es tomarse una taza de tecito, ¿ah?
Didn't he say he was coming here on vacation? Does he not feel an ounce of shame for all the trouble he has caused? Forget it. He did. I will be meeting someone shortly.
Do you require help with any preparations?
No need. I will take care of it myself. I need to meet with Farina, the Hydro Archon. She is at the heart of Fontaine.
Oh?
¡Uy, qué está bacán ese skin!
You dare to run from me? Stop right this instant!
My goal is just to discover the location of the Gnosis. But I didn't expect the chance to approach Farina. Anything left unguarded is usually just bait. But no one will blame someone for taking the bait. It's just as I guessed in the second before I struck. In fact, this Archon doesn't seem like a god at all.
Who are you?
The fear in her pupils is genuine. So perhaps she's not bait after all. I left the scene with ease. Nobody came looking for me, and nobody could serve as a witness to my near. Not long after, my informants confirmed what I had guessed. After returning to her quarters, Farina... There's no doubt that there's something wrong with her. I began to entertain the possibility that she is not the true Hydro Archon. I have to find the Gnosis. If the Neuvillette hypothesis...
Yes, Father.
My dear children, please...
News from the fortress of Meripede. Master Child has gone missing. On top of that, the contacts and guards we bribed at the fortress have all gone quiet as well.
Probably the handiwork of that Ridesley.
I'm afraid so.
This is a good opportunity. The value of a Harbinger is much higher than most would imagine. We now have an excuse to exert diplomatic pressure on the Fontaine Authority. Set up a meeting for me. I would like to meet the Hydro Archon and Udex Neuvillette. Oh, and I have an addiction.
Yes, Father.
Tartaglia's disappearance was not a part of my plan, but the initiative belongs to the House of the Hearth. My wish to investigate the fortress of Meripede will...
Uy, tengo que admitir que esta me gustó bastante, ¿ah? De todas las fatui femeninas, esta es mi favorita, ¿ah?
You should know the rest. Lenny's group is quite close to you, so they wouldn't have hidden anything from you.
You attacked the Hydro Archon?
It
¿Cómo?
wouldn't mean anything, even if you shouted it from the rooftops. After all, even Farina herself is still pretending that nothing of that sort ever happened.
Alright then.
I've now had 2 chances to enjoy tea with Farina. I have to say, the leadership of Fontaine is even more inscrutable than I had imagined. I once surmised that Udex Neuvillette must be the Hydro Archon.
¿Por qué estás tan segura de ello?
I am a servant of Her Majesty the Tsaritsa. Over my years of service, I've learned how a real Archon
¿Qué?
and carries themselves.
¿La Arconte de hielo?
Udex Nuvillet or Farina, neither fits the bill. It's hard to imagine either of them as the Archon. Of course,
Eso quiere decir que es
that's all
mujer.
just how I feel. Gut feelings often do not require justification. It is, however, quite amusing to me that after all my years working in intelligence gathering, I've come to realize I am at a complete loss regarding the identity of the god of the land. Don't you think Fontaine is quite intriguing? A catastrophe looms, yet many secrets have yet to rise to the surface. Ultimately, though, one must survive in order to do anything else. Should the need arise, I would be happy to cooperate with you. You don't need to commit to anything right now, of course. I have a feeling that the situation will continue to evolve, and as your name is often connected with noble deeds, I'm sure we will work
Uy, el
together.
Danker de agua.
He certainly returned quickly. You must want to catch up with each other, so I'll leave you to him.
Oy, 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 oy.
Neverett,
¿Está todo bien?
For now, yes. But this issue will prove quite thorny in the long term. I'm concerned that sooner or later the prophesized events will occur.
De momento sí, pero este es un problema a largo plazo. Tarde o temprano tendré que hacerme cargo de ello.
Thank you for protecting Farina.
Gracias por proteger a Furina. ¿Y qué ocurrió en el fuerte? ¿Pudiste detenerlo?
To put it simply, I used my power to force back the primordial sea and reseal the sluice gate.
En nuestro caso,
So as expected, the knave has turned up the pressure on Farina. She's trying to feel her out, though I'm still unsure as to her motives.
¿podemos preguntarte algo?
Permission granted.
¿Cuál realmente es su relación con el Arconte Hydro?
Whoa. It can't be that you're the real Hydro Archon, right? You can't tell us? Then
If by the phrase you guys you are referring to Farina and I, then although I'm not sure just what you are trying to imply, I must clarify that I do not share her positions on a multitude of topics.
¿Percibiste algo en el fuerte?
I believe so. The fortress has a long and now another catastrophe will soon be upon us. I mourn this turn of
Pude
events.
ver la siguiente catástrofe con mis propios ojos. El apocalipsis que se viene sobre Fontaine.
huh? Why is it raining all
¡Tú eres el dragón!
You may be closer to the truth than you think.
Oh? And what are you thinking?
Él es el rey dragón del agua.
The dragon of what? Huh?
Please do not be so surprised. Farina.
Furina.
Neverett! Neverett, are you in? We
Lo
were
siento.
just guessing randomly.
You guessed correctly. I sincerely hope you'll be able to keep this a secret for me.
Ahora bien, les pido que guarden el secreto, por favor.
Right, of course. There's still...
Please, go.
Well, if you are the dragon sovereign of water, and you were able to then since Fontaine's prophecy is all about sea...
None of the currently living dragon sovereigns in the world, myself included, possess our full dragonhood.
En la actualidad, todos los dragones estamos totalmente incompletos.
They say that when the first usurper arrived on Tivat, they seized a part of the dragon's power. Today, that stolen power is the basis of the Archon's authorities.
Dice que cuando llegó el primer usurpador, robó el poder a los dragones. Y que ese poder robado lo utilizan los arcontes hoy en día.
There are 7 elemental archons, and
The dragon sovereign of water who lived through that era perished a long time ago. As their successor, I know far less of that part of our ancient history.
Mi antecesor murió hace mucho tiempo, por lo tanto no sé tanto sobre la leyenda.
In any case, I believe I will not be able to do much unless the Archon disappears and returns their elemental authority to me.
Lo que creo es que no podré hacer nada a menos de que el arconte desaparezca y me devuelva mi poder.
Given the status quo, however, I would recommend finding another way to deal with the prophecy.
Sin embargo, en vista de la situación, mi consejo es buscar algo frente a la profecía.
Oh, so even you...
I still have some urgent matters to attend to at my office. If you have any more questions regarding ancient history, you are welcome to discuss them with me at a later time.
Estaré muy ocupado. Si quieren podemos retomar nuestra conversación próximamente.
Please go right ahead. There's a place that Paimon wants to go too. Traveler, why don't we pay another visit to the Fortress of Meripede? Paimon,
Hasta la próxima.
we'll see you another time.
Take care.
Que les vaya muy bien. Uy, qué buena crisis, ¿ah? Con esto se ha desbloqueado al arconte Hydro. O bueno, el dragón. Así que como lo he desbloqueado, vamos a ver cómo está. Está en level 60. Con su prototipo. Instalaciones. Y bueno, y los artefactos están estos. Bueno, habrá que armarlo más. Pero va quedando bien. Así que bueno. Vamos a estar todos los 7 para terminar con esto. Aunque la verdad mejor lo termino frente a Fuente, aprovechando que estamos aquí. Y la falta un buen lugar para terminar el capítulo. ¿De cuánto quedó? Pues de 1 hora perfecto. Así que nada, vamos a dejar hasta acá. Espero que les haya gustado el video. Si decir, pues por eso me gusta la buena suscripción. Comenten lo que quieran. Suscríbanse que no cuesta nada. Y nos vemos en el siguiente videito. Adiós. Gracias por ver. Bye bye.